Hey, church family. Today's a very special day for me and for Sandra, but especially for me. Today's April 2nd, 2020, and exactly 20 years ago at 6:10 p.m. at Oshawa Community Church, I had a divine appointment with Sandra Bjorklund, who is now Sandra Jeffs. And I remember walking in the service. I actually was invited to Oshawa Community Church through a friend, and he told me the service was 6:30, and it started at 6, so I was actually 10 minutes late. Sandra never lets that one go for me, but inside joke anyway. But I showed up at 10 after 6, walked up to the second row on the right-hand side, and I looked up, and there was Sandra at the keys leading worship. And I always joke that I had this angelic experience, like all of heaven just starts singing, hallelujah. And it was awesome. And I literally took one look at her and went, that's going to be my wife. But I want you to understand something before that nice little moment, is I had no idea that I was going to meet somebody that would literally change my life forever that night. I just was invited to a church service. That's all. But what was interesting is that night led to this. When I was thin, that's our engagement photo, which then led to this, which was our wedding photo, which then led to this, which is the fruit of our relationship, our children, as we call them, our kitties, who are awesome. But I want you to understand something significant tonight. Our theme this month is thankfulness, and I want to share tonight about this concept of thankfulness, but in the context of God's divine connections, God's divine relationships. And there's an interesting story in John chapter 4 where Jesus met a woman at a well, and the discussion around this between these two individuals, Jesus and this woman at the well, the Samaritan woman at the well, revolved around worship and literally water and the thirst for God. And out of that connection that day, no one had planned that idea. I'm sure God had, but I can tell you right now that Samaritan woman did not plan that connection that day. There was no preconceived idea of meeting the Messiah, Jesus Christ, that day. But as a result of that connection in John chapter 4, it literally goes on to say that this lady went back to her town, told them all about this divine connection with Jesus, and the entire town got saved that day. They all came to Christ. They all came to him and asked him, what are you all about? What's going on? Tell me. And so I want you to understand tonight, church, that part of thankfulness is thanking God in advance for the connect the dot connections that we have, the divine connections that God orchestrates that we couldn't have made up or come up with, even if we tried. Some of you in the church are here today because of a divine connection. Marnie shows up at a Lego movie night as a result of a divine connection with a coworker, Lisa. And I could go on and on and on and on and on about divine connections that have brought you either to impact, to God, or to these amazing people in your life. And you can think of their names. For me, it's Bob McLean, my spiritual father. God, that was a divine connection. It was amazing, orchestrated by God. But I want you to understand today, for me, this is my divine connection. It was unexpected. I didn't go to church that night looking to meet my wife, the future mother of my children and ministry partner at Impact Church, but God did. So I want you to understand tonight, I'm thankful for divine connections. I'm thankful for how God is going to use you in this season. I'm thankful for those connection points that you had never pre-planned, but God did. So church, be on the lookout for divine connections. Be on the lookout for connect the dot moments that are going to literally fill your picture in so you can color it and God can color it for you. This is a season of divine connections, and that's what I'm thankful for today. Bless you, church.